Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about a new Disney Plus film, Godmothered. Before we begin, let me know in the comments if you were looking forward to this or what your thoughts are if you've seen it already, and make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews. It helps me out immensely if you do that. Also, if you're new here and you like movies, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. But now, let's jump right into it. This stars Jillian Bell as Eleanor, an unskilled fairy godmother in training who learns that the profession of being a fairy godmother is in danger of ending. Determined to show that they're still needed, she sets out to find a young girl named Mackenzie whose wish was ignored. When she finds Mackenzie, she discovers she's now a grown woman played by Isla Fisher, who, after the death of her husband, has grown disillusioned with the idea of a happily ever after. This dropped on Disney Plus yesterday and is directed by Sharon Maguire, who gave us 2 out of the 3 Bridget Jones movies. And while this is technically an original movie, this is essentially a combination of 2 other films, Elf and Enchanted, the latter of which is also from Disney. Just like Elf, it's about one character who's from what's thought to be a fictional place that has to turn a cynical person's life around, and like Enchanted, it contains its fair share of self-aware humor, poking fun at magical fairy tales, while also having its share of romantic comedy elements, as Eleanor also has to convince Mackenzie to find a prince in order to achieve her happily ever after, which she hopes to accomplish through one of Mackenzie's co-workers. Just like Enchanted, it's once again Disney trying to poke fun at itself and attempting to have fun with it. There's a whole fairy godmother school, we learned there are specific rules they need to abide by, they have to follow certain regulations, they'll essentially call things cheesy and sappy that we've seen in plenty of Disney's own films, and that's all within the first act. Unfortunately, the thing is, unlike Enchanted, this doesn't really commit to the self-parody as hard as that film did. And what happens is, it very quickly becomes the sort of movie it was trying to make fun of. It becomes very predictable, and you can call all these emotional beats. You have people who initially don't believe Eleanor, and she has to prove herself, and Mackenzie hits this rough patch trying to turn her life around, and she has to discover what's important in life, and you can call exactly where this goes. It doesn't lean into that self-parody as much after a while, and instead just stays completely in Elf territory. It doesn't do anything too out of the ordinary, so if you're looking for something that changes things up a bit, this isn't the movie for you. That being said, I don't think this film is terrible. In fact, I wouldn't even call it bad. I'm not saying it's exactly good, but it's far from the worst thing released this year, nor is it one of the worst things released on Disney Plus. And what keeps it somewhat afloat are our 2 lead performances. Jillian Bell and Isla Fisher are what makes this movie even remotely enjoyable. Even though you can call both their characters arcs from the second this movie starts, they both do a fine job. Jillian Bell in particular does have a great sense of comedic timing. I think she's someone whose talents haven't been properly utilized in the film, and despite the fact the story leaves a lot to be desired, she did make me laugh out loud quite a few times here. There's one scene in particular where she's trying to find her way to Isla Fisher's house, and the exchange she has with the person who winds up bringing her there is quite possibly the best scene in the entire movie. And that's thanks to Bell's skills. She has a number of solid moments like this that I appreciated. And Isla Fisher is very charismatic, even though, again, she's playing this trope as she's pessimistic, cynical, resigned to the drudgery of this 9-to-5 job, and she has to turn her life around. She's still fine. She gives a very committed performance. It's not her best ever by no means or anything even close to that, but it's certainly a lot better than the material called for. And both did a good enough job that they gave the film a very sweet tone. Despite the fact that it's an extremely predictable movie, it has a good heart. And these performances do make you want to like these characters, and I think they succeeded there. It's not enough to the point where I find myself wanting to go back to this movie at all, but I at least found these to be characters I somewhat cared about. The best case I can make for this is, I think younger audiences will certainly appreciate it, because it doesn't do anything particularly terrible, it's just a predictable story about magical fairy tales and finding a prince and living happily ever after, and that's something kids will enjoy. It's good enough if you have a small child and just want to throw something new on for them, it'll do the job. If it leaned in more to that self-aware humor, I think it would be something that the whole family can enjoy, but that ends up not being the case here. This is a mixed bag. It's essentially a combination of 2 different movies that handle the material much better. It tries to be the self-parody of Disney's other movies in the vein of Enchanted, but what ends up happening is it just becomes the movie it tried making fun of and ends up taking itself too seriously to a degree. But it's also funny enough and charming enough thanks to 2 solid performances from Jillian Bell and Isla Fisher that I think younger kids will enjoy it. And unless you're just a big fan of these 2 leads that you need to see this, there's just not enough here for you if you're not in that target audience. Godmothered gets a 6 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Godmothered, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the story? Did you find it funny? And what was your favorite fairy tale growing up? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll catch you next time.